ripe oranges are
Don't tell me they're fucking green, bro.
actually green.
No, they're not. Stop lying.
And many residents of equatorial communities have never even seen an orange in food stands.
What the fuck? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another amazing video. We're going to be checking out something very interesting today that pertains to some more criticism related to America. But before we get into that, I want to clear something up. A lot of you guys made that last video go crazy. I'm not going to lie. I really appreciate that. However, a few of y'all were acting like I don't like America. Just because I have a lot of things to say about America does not mean I don't appreciate where I live. I just feel like we should be criticized. We are not a perfect country at all. We are a country that has a ton of flaws that need to be fixed. And if you guys agree with that statement, let me know in the comments down below. If you think America is perfect and nothing needs to be fixed, something wrong with you. But also let me know in the comments down below. Anyways, we're going to be reacting to why the US government decides the color of our food, which is interesting. I feel like that's a little eye-opening. Cheddar is a very interesting channel. We're getting this off of Cheddar Explains, of course. They exposed a few things pertaining to America that I was just like, wow. Smash that damn like button. Hit that subscribe button, man. We're chasing 500,000 subscribers, and if you like what you see right now, you're gonna love what you see later on in this video.
Walking through a grocery store, we expect food to be certain colors. Oranges are orange.
Are they supposed to be fucking green or some shit?
Salmon is pink.
Yeah.
And pickles are yellowish green.
Depending on the pickle.
But what if I told you that this isn't necessarily true? Unlike candy or cereal, we assume that the color of natural foods are a result of the environment. But some aren't actually the color we assume. Because the government plays a key role in determining the colors of your food. And for that, we can thank the margarine wars of the late 19th century. In the 1860s, butter was expensive. Without refrigeration, the product spoiled quickly.
They did the same thing for the other video, exposing why most Europeans don't like American chocolate. Mainly revealing that American chocolate has a gigantic lack of cocoa and a huge additive of preservatives and stuff.
In response, the French invented a cheaper alternative called margarine.
Hey, margarine pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, I put margarine on everything. I put that in my cereal. Anybody else put margarine in their cereal?
It was made by churning beef tallow, a form of animal fat, with salt and milk.
I'm not gonna lie, this might be a hot take, but I'm gonna say it. I feel like animal fat to me is more preferred than butter, right? Like if I'm cooking with something, if I have bacon grease, I would rather cook with that than like butter for some dishes. Not all dishes, but for some dishes. I feel like it's just more flavorful. Butter's great for flavor, but I feel like something about that animal fat, bro.
Margarine was a similar tasting spread, but was less expensive and took longer to spoil. But unlike butter, margarine was white, the color of lard.
Hey, lard goes hard though, I'm not gonna lie.
So manufacturers added a yellow dye in order to appeal to consumers' palates conditioned by the color of butter.
Huh. Interesting.
By the 1870s, margarine was flying off American shelves. Meanwhile, butter sales were falling. So the American dairy industry launched a propaganda campaign against margarine.
What? So the American dairy industry launched a campaign against margarine.
The campaign published articles citing the use of dangerous ingredients.
That's what I wanted to key in on. Citing the use of dangerous ingredients. Isn't that the whole spiel about America stuff? We use stuff that quite literally takes people's lives, and we just go ahead and pump it into our food all the time. They've been doing this for a long time, man. Whatever makes a quick buck, you know what I mean?
And used obscene cartoons depicting the wretched conditions of factories. In 1886, the government passed the Oleomargarine Act to appease butter.
What corny ass act is that, man? That's some corny ass shit.
For manufacturers. It permitted the coloring of margarine, but aimed to restrict sales by adding a 2-cent tax per pound, whether it was colored or not.
So in short, America got salty and taxed margarine in hopes of boosting the sales of their own butter. That's what it was. Corporate greed in a nutshell, y'all.
It marked one of the first instances in which an industry pursued government intervention in an effort to stop competition. This wasn't enough for dairy farmers, and they continued to seek government legislation.
Yikes.
By the end of the century, 26 states had enacted anti-color laws that completely prohibited the coloring of margarine.
Well, the thing is, I'm indifferent about the coloring of margarine, honestly. I do find it weird that it's yellow. Why can't it just be the color it is when you get it? They explained why that is, but the why that they gave was just weird, like to match people's palates and what they associate to be butter. If you don't know what butter is, or you've never physically seen butter a day in your life and you're a kid, right? And the first thing that you are introduced to is just a white stick of butter or margarine. You see margarine for the first time and it's just like a tub of white stuff. I mean, then that's what you're gonna associate that with. You build an image around what you've experienced or what you've seen, and you can break the cycle and change the way people view things to some degree.
Some states went as far as making manufacturers dye margarine pink so that consumers could discern the difference in product.
Dyeing margarine pink? Bro, whatever crack they were smoking, I don't want it.
In 1902, the federal government took it a step further and added a 10-cent tax on artificially dyed margarine, while the tax on naturally colored was reduced
Money.
to 1/4 cent. In order to avoid the tax, margarine producers started using vegetable oil as a natural dye and even sold color capsules along with the white margarine.
Hey, bro. The margarine companies were trolling, man. They were trolling. They're like, we'll let people know it's margarine, but we're going to have them do it themselves. You could do it yourself. It comes with a little dye pill, a little dye packet. Put a little dye packet in the margarine and you're good. And we're not breaking no laws. How about that?
So that consumers could color it at home. The margarine wars were coming to a close, but the war on food dye was just beginning. In 1906, the Food and Drugs Act banned the use of harmful coloring without labeling to conceal damage or inferiority. The government certified 7 colors for food use, not only because they were considered harmless, but because they were heavily used.
What the
However,
hell?
the use of them was not required.
Oh my God.
Manufacturers could still use uncertified colors as long as they were labeled in the ingredients.
Naturally and artificially flavored, and they put that there in like a font that you can barely see, and it's in a way where you don't really give 4 fucks, right? Like, it's like if you make a YouTube title, this is what pops out at you, not this weirdo shit. You know what I mean?
And American consumers still bought them.
If we didn't use coloring, our food products would look a lot different than they look. It may affect people's decision whether to buy a food product or not. But in addition to that, colors can also be used as a way to enhance flavoring or more importantly, to enhance freshness.
What we see on our plate determines how we taste.
Very, very true. I'll give him, yes, very true, very true. Man, when salmon be looking real pink and stuff, I'm like, damn, Jay, it's time to dig in.
During one study by the British researcher J.C. Wheatley in the 1970s, participants ate steak and fries in a dark room.
He ate steak and fries in a dark room. Listen, first of all, why are you eating fries with steak? That doesn't even go together. Second of all, that's some serial killer activity. If I see somebody eating steak in the darkness with some fries, that's a violation. That's like pouring whiskey in your Cheerios instead of milk.
Subjects stated the food tasted normal, but midway through the meal, scientists turned on the lights to reveal that the steak was dyed blue and
they gave him a Smurf steak?
Ew! Dude! What the fuck?
Many participants became ill or lost their appetite merely at the sight.
No. They did not get ill because of the blue steak. That looks weird, but what they actually got sick from was the combination of food you gave them. What the f is that?
The experiment showed how our brains can alter the taste of food depending on our perception of color. In the early 1900s, the USDA began setting grade standards for the external appearances of certain foods.
What?
For example, no more than 4% of peas in a can of canned peas could be discolored.
Why? Is it that big of a deal?
And in order for apples to be graded as US extra fancy,
Man, stop it.
they must be colored 50% striped or partially red. These grading standards determine the quality of food based solely on appearance.
Bro, that's why we got racism in America, bro. If the apple is red, it is inevitably going to taste phenomenal. If it's yellow, it's going to be garbage. Yellow apples taste the best.
But throughout this time, journalists continued to uncover more harmful properties associated with dyes and ingredients used in food, drug, and cosmetic products. Then, in 1937, disaster struck.
Well, disaster was striking worldwide, so I'm not sure if they're referring to that.
Tennessee Drug Company began advertising the benefits of a new drug to treat infections.
How does that have to do with food? A drug that treats infections. Why are you bringing this up in a video that has to do with the coloring of our food?
The product was untested and was found to have toxic ingredients after over 100 patients died. The newly created FDA quickly enacted the Food, Drug, and Cosmetics Act. And unlike the 1906 law, only the use of certified dyes would be permitted by law.
What the hell?
Regulations continued to strengthen, and the list of certified colors was frequently updated due to safety.
There are 9 certified colors that are approved for use in the United States.
Okay.
And the FDA has a chart with those 9 colors.
And these colors are prominent across the food industry, even in foods you may not expect.
Which is weird because some of the foods I bet you they're going to bring up, I'm going to wonder how they get the foods to look that color in the first place.
When you think about the color of typical pickles in a jar, you probably picture a bright yellow-green color like these. Although pickles are naturally green, this bright hue is the result of food dye. Yellow dye number 5 and 6.
Yellow 5. Wow, I didn't even realize that. That's crazy.
This dye keeps skin from fading while on shelves. Uncolored pickles, on the other hand,
wow,
are much less vibrant and look like this.
Oh, that look nasty, bro. Okay, I see it. I see it. All right, at this point in the video, I understand. I understand. This looks disgusting, bro. Like the pickles look infected.
Now, what color do you think of when it comes to oranges?
Is that a trick question?
Obviously the color orange, right? But that isn't always the case. In warmer climates, ripe oranges are...
Don't tell me they're fucking green, bro.
...actually green.
No, they're not. Stop lying.
And many residents of equatorial communities have never even seen an orange in food stands.
What the fuck? How did oranges get their name? Riddle me that, Batman.
Only in cooler temperatures does this green pigment die off, revealing an orange color.
So ripe oranges are green. Cap.
However, consumers in these areas associate green with an unripe fruit. So, in order to make oranges sellable in the US and European market, farmers in warmer states like Florida, where 70% of the US citrus supply comes from,
that's where I live right now,
and Texas, often artificially dye them orange.
Wow.
However, the dye is banned in California and Arizona.
Why?
Salmon is another unsuspecting food that relies on dyes to make sales. Unlike wild salmon that is naturally pink, farm-raised salmon is naturally gray.
Run that shit the fuck back again. The hell did you just say?
Unlike wild salmon that is naturally pink, farm-raised salmon is naturally gray.
Oh, hell no. I threw up in my mouth a little bit when you said that. I guess it is appropriate that we use dye to color the food. That's fine. Ooh, that's fine.
Is naturally gray.
That was a business move right there. Let me tell you, if I came across a gray slab of salmon, I'm like, why the fuck is that in this store?
Wild salmon is pink because their diet consists of naturally pigmenting compounds from krill and shrimp. But farmed salmon are fed food pellets with astaxanthin, an FDA-approved dye, in order to turn them pink.
So they're fed that to turn them pink.
This is because consumers have been shown to prefer darker shades of pink and will pay up to $1 more.
Well, that's true. Yeah, okay, this video makes a lot of sense. If I see bright pink salmon, I'm buying up the whole store. That shit look delicious. If the salmon look gray, not today.
Fish is a huge problem when it comes to deception. You've got fish that's caught in Alaska, for example, sent to Asia for manipulation sent back to Alaska, and then sent to the.
Doesn't fish expire in like 3 days? How the hell are you shipping that out to Asia? I know that expired and all kinds of craziness. So on top of the food coloring, they definitely put preservatives in that shit.
States for consumption in sushi bars.
Some wheat breads, cheeses, and others contain dyes as well.
In this kind of food coloring or the use of food dyes, government is trying to protect people's health by stopping the introduction of harmful substances. But at the same time, this kind of regulation was adjusted so that this regulation does not affect the food industry in a devastating way. They don't.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is all a money ploy, which honestly, smart move. I'm glad they control what the food looked like as far as coloring and stuff goes, because you best believe I would have felt some type of way if it looked any different.
Want to ban or prohibit all of the synthetic dyes or prohibit the entire.
Oh, bro, they definitely poisoning all the fishy and stuff out there. They're poisoning the hell out of the food, but it's fine. I think it tastes delicious. So I mean, I'm still alive and breathing, so it can't be that bad.
Food coloring process.
Today, some companies are experimenting by slowly removing synthetic dyes from food.
There's a lot of things being changed, and I feel like the dye being removed from foods and stuff like that, I feel like we'll do away with that in the next like 10, 20 years.
Instead, they're moving towards the less vibrant natural dyes. For example, Subway recently stated it would stop using artificial dye to color banana peppers and use turmeric to maintain the bright yellow appearance instead.
Hey, turmeric goes crazy, bro.
Panera Bread removed the use of dye in its mozzarella cheese.
They dyed their mozzarella cheese?
Which turned it from having a bright white color to a yellowish hue.
Okay.
The standard the government uses is a reasonable standard. So they don't have to be foolproof, 100% proven safe, but they have to be shown to be reasonably safe. So we allow these little exceptions to the 100% rule, no risk rule, in order to accommodate a modern food system of having foods that are manufactured in different colors and taste and a variety of foods. But the problem with that is beyond just the questions of deception and safety, is the question of, is this the kind of food system we want?
Is it? I mean, I think so. It works for me. What do you think an alternative solution to this should be? Would the alternative solution be not to dye the food? I mean, I feel like they shouldn't have dyed it in the first place because it would have allowed us to adjust to what actual food colors look like. I mean, that makes sense to me. The color shouldn't have really been that big of a deal, but I think they noticed it immediately garnered a lot of financial benefits and stuff when they did it that way. I don't think it was that bad, to be honest. I was expecting it to be a lot more devastating, like, maybe like, oh, the dye that they use like killed billions of people or some crap or whatever. Like, no, it wasn't that bad. I mean, yeah, of course they are tainting the food a little bit, but bro, we also like put roids in all of our meat here. I like that shit, actually. I like the fact that we got roided up chickens and roided up cows. I'm not trying to eat 50 cows when I could just eat one big ass, muscly ass, Arnold Schwarzenegger looking ass cow, bro. That's that. You guys let me know what you think in the comments down below. Controversial take, but I think we should definitely continue doing what we're doing with the food. Maybe we could change a few things, make it a little bit healthier or whatever, but I think it tastes good, and it definitely, I guess it explains why I choose certain foods over other foods when I go to the supermarket. How do you find the food in America versus your home country? I'm very curious.